The project proposal is really the next assessment item you need to start worrying about in software architecture. So, what is it? So this is the lead-in to the actual project itself. So in this proposal, you're proposing a project, and some of these projects will be the ones we select to actually conduct as the projects in the course. So you need to submit a proposal. So what's required in this proposal? Needs to be something important or significant. So it can't be some tiny little project. It needs to be something that justifies having a sophisticated software architecture and something that justifies having a team of people spending a considerable amount of time building it. So it needs to be something meaningful. And we don't really care what it is. Can't be trivial, but beyond that, it can be anything you want. You can be as exotic and creative as you want. Of course, if you're very exotic, there's a chance that no one's going to want to work on it. So practical is probably a consideration if you actually want to do it. So we're suggesting pick something that is of interest to you and is likely to be of interest to others. Could be some brilliant idea you have for some brand new type of system that no one's built before, or it can be something that there's a dozen copies of it, but it looks like it's fun or interesting or something you want to explore. This is only the proposal. So you're proposing what is going to be built. You're not building it, you're not designing it at this stage. But you've got to have some idea what it's about, because you want to sell this to the students involved in the course. So, one of the things you need to consider in your proposal is what is it, or what's important about it. So you need to consider the non-functional requirements or the quality attributes that are going to be important to your project. So here's a sample set of potential quality attributes. They're ones that we're going to be looking at over the semester. If you want to look at different quality attributes in your project, you're free to do so, though you need to check with us beforehand before jumping in and picking a bunch of quality attributes that are not appropriate for the context of this course. Side note, security is going to be important for every project. So you may not have security as one of your key quality attributes, but it still needs to be something considered in the design of your system. And so the project, you're going to design a solution to this proposal and then implement a minimum viable product or a minimal working prototype of it to demonstrate its feasibility. So you're not actually required to build the entire thing for the project. We're assuming some of these or a lot of these will be big enough, interesting enough, you can't build it in what's left of the semester, but it's something you should be able to build a demonstration version of for us to see that it is feasible. So what needs to go into this proposal? So you need to obviously tell us what is it about, so what is this project, and which quality attributes you're working on and why they're important to the project. Potentially you may need to consider which quality attributes are going to have higher priority than other ones if you need to make trade-offs between them. And you need to demonstrate that it's something that could actually build an MVP within the time left in the semester. So you need to have a list of features that you intend to deliver as part of the MVP. And the important bit is you need to explain how you're going to evaluate that you have delivered the quality attributes and that your architecture will deliver them. And this is a proposal, needs to be short, so we're saying 2 pages, and there is a template for this. So obviously we need a title for your project, need the short elevator pitch telling us why it's such a brilliant idea, need to know who you are, need to then summarize the features that are going to be delivered by the overall project, and then you need to provide a more detailed description of what's actually going to be delivered in your MVP. Again, you need to identify what the quality attributes are and why they're important, and you need to describe how you're going to evaluate your architecture to demonstrate it delivers those quality attributes. So you need to submit your proposal by 4 p.m. on April 4th. The proposal is to be submitted through the GitHub repository, and so you should have access to that repository on GitHub. So it's Project Proposal 2023. There's a directory with your student ID already provisioned, and then there is a template set up for you with your structure you need to follow in your proposal Markdown file. So you need to write your proposal in Markdown, and all of these proposals are going to be published and made visible to everyone in the course, because everyone's going to vote on everyone else's proposals. And that voting is due by 4 p.m. on the 13th of April. And if you don't vote, or if you only vote on 1 or 2 projects, then you're likely to get lumbered with a project you're not interested in, so you're strongly encouraged to vote on a number of projects. There's a structure here for the suggested format of your directory on the repository. So obviously within your student number, you've got your proposal MD file, and then if you've got any other files like images that you want to show people or examples of interfaces, they should be in an assets subdirectory and reference from your proposal's Markdown file. This is only worth 5%, but it is marked. And so it's marked on your description of the functionality, so that you've described something that is actually a full system and we have a good idea what it's about. Plus you've got a well-described and feasible and well-defined MVP. You need to have identified what were appropriate quality attributes, and you need to justify why they are important, and you need to state them in a way that it's clearly testable and or measurable, so that you can actually evaluate those quality attributes and whether they have been delivered. And then you need to have an evaluation plan which clearly describes how you're going to evaluate that the MVP demonstrates that you are going to actually have delivered all those quality attributes, and it's got to be feasible to do the evaluation. And the other thing about your MVP is it must actually demonstrate all of the important quality attributes. So there may be minor quality attributes that you don't really need to demonstrate within your MVP, but your MVP has to actually cover all of the ones that you said were important. And then there's also the marks for the actual structure of your document. So how easy is it to read, and is it at an appropriate technical level is what we're looking for in the marking. So this is not meant to be a high stakes, high stress assessment. It's only 5%. It's only 2 pages. It's meant to be fun because it's coming up with a bright idea that seems like it would be something interesting or fun to build, and something that potentially other people may want to work on. And then after the 13th of April, we will allocate you to teams based on the votes. So it'll be the projects that get the highest vote ratings will be the ones that are picked as the projects we will work on, and then you'll be allocated to projects where if you voted on a wide enough range of projects, will be the ones that you indicated you were interested in them by giving them high votes. And as a side note, if you decide you don't like your project after reading others and you think there's another one you'd rather work on rather than your own, you can give yourself a low vote, which isn't going to impact on your marks. It's just going to indicate to us you don't actually really want to run that project. Otherwise, the person who nominated the project will be the person who is the nominal team leader for the project. So if you've got any questions regarding the proposal, please put them on Slack.